Hey guys, so today we wanted to share with you the building of this cabin. We've been featuring it in a lot of our videos, but we really haven't talked about why we've built it and how we've built it. And we really want to elaborate on those two things because we actually built this for probably a couple $100s. And the reason because of that is because we used reclaimed materials and we needed to build it because winter's coming and just having our RV and a carport isn't enough. We really wanted a place to put the wood stove, but we didn't feel comfortable putting it in the carport directly. So we kind of built this little add-on, and we really want to talk to you about the details and why it's so cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun little project. This is not part of our game plan when we set out on this journey, so we kind of had to detour because winter was coming. We started seeing the temperatures dropping. We knew snow was on the horizon. And our carport wasn't satisfactory to protect our RV for the winter. Mm-hmm. We didn't expect to be in that carport. We anticipated getting a barn done. So this project kind of started as a barter flyer that we posted around town because we're trying to do this project in a way that most average people could do. Not run down to the credit bank or run down to the credit card or second mortgage or whatever other strategy.
Anything's possible if you want to use gobs of money and rack up $20,000 bill on your credit card, but most people who are going through the transition to city life, from city life to homesteading, they definitely need to take budget into consideration.
Yeah, it's just not practical, and so we're sort of kind of practicing that. It is not easy, and this cabin is a great example of that entire thing. So again, this started as a barter flyer, and we had a few different people contact us, and we also did some other outreach. And so we were able to gather a lot of different materials. They're from all over the place, different projects, different leftovers. So we started with...
At the time when we started collecting these materials, we didn't collect them intending that we're going to build a little add-on cabin. We just knew that we couldn't go wrong if we had endless lumber, insulation, things like that to work with. Then we could, let our creativity take control and see what we come up with.
Yeah, and that's kind of both the fun and the challenge of this entire project, or projects like this, is that you don't really have a Home Depot with a full hardware store at your disposal and you could just pick every single nut and bolt. You kind of have to work with what you have, and we're very fortunate that we've been able to acquire an immense amount of materials for a very small amount of money. In fact, the vast majority of the stuff in this cabin we got for free because all the other stuff we deliberately paid money for, this kind of came with it as just a bonus. Yeah. So it started as a barter flyer. We picked up materials from this person, that person, this person. And then we knew we needed to put something on the RV carport, as Alyssa said, to help protect against freezing. We do not expect this cabin to be heated and warm and toasty bikini weather.
Although it would be nice.
It would be nice, but it's not practical. That was never part of the design. This was simply a way to help against the deep freezing temperatures here in the Northwest. So we kind of took a look at the materials that we had gathered, and we made a deduction about what we could build. We're very fortunate some of the contractors that we worked with were able to salvage some really valuable cedar components from other buildings. And we were able to kind of cut them down and trim them and things. And that's kind of where the dimensions of this cabin came from. This wasn't something we sat down with a pen and paper and we sketched out the exact design. We want it to look just like this. Yep. It was like we looked at the stack of stuff that we had and we said, what could you reasonably build with this? And ultimately not cut it all into itty-bitty pieces. So our goal was to make
as few cuts as possible.
Few cuts as possible, and yet come up with something practical. So it turns out this is a 10 by 12 cabin, and that just happened to fit the materials that we have. It's got a 7-foot ceiling, 7-foot top plate, but then the ceiling is actually around 14 feet, 15 feet. So it feels really roomy, even though it's pretty tiny. After the fact, we were putting some of the last touches on, trying to wrap it up for winter. And we decided to actually purchase some materials to give it some daylight. So we've actually got some passive solar type components here. We used clear plastic roofing that we purchased at retail.
Yep.
And that plastic roofing costs more than the entire rest of the structure.
Yeah, I think they're $20 a panel. We bought 6 and then we ended up using 4. So that's still $80, maybe $100 with tax.
We decided against using windows because we knew that we'd have to put a lot more extra time into them, and ultimately they wouldn't provide a maximum benefit as far as light goes. And we needed light because we're off-grid. We don't have electricity. We don't just get to flip a switch on when it's dark outside.
I think one thing we talk about often is that we're not afraid of spending money. We just really want it to make sense and use what you can for free, and then you could decide what you really want to splurge on. So again, in this case, it was our little panels for windows and light.
Yeah, and the moral of this story, there's actually a lot of lessons behind this cabin. It wasn't just a cabin to get us winterized. There was a lot of exercises in this thing. It was learning to work with what we have.
Yep.
It was actually building something. We built a 10 by 12 cabin all on our own. I mean, we had the help of my sister, but we didn't go down to the architect. We didn't have a contractor come out. We didn't do a lot of that stuff. So we built this thing all on our own. And that's one of the reasons, if you follow our other videos, why we moved to an area without building codes, because we would have had to go through hoop after hoop after hoop of planning and zoning and inspections and inspectors, blah, blah, blah. We just whipped it up. This thing took us about 3 days to put together. And we used reclaimed insulation. All the roofing is reclaimed from a barn and a house that we tore down. The door that we have is very unsexy, but it was free. It was sitting on a pile of lumber, and it's not a forever door.
And at this point, nothing we're really doing is sexy, which is hard for both of us because we both are very neat and tidy and like nice things. But because we want that, we're going through this whole phase of unsexiness and using what we have because we believe we're going to reach our goals faster.
Yeah, and so it's working. It's awesome. So we're kind of we've gone through the validation part where we kind of looked at it, stood back and said, yes, it'll work. We kind of made it all fit. And we put it together. We've been doing it for a couple of weeks. We've been running the wood stove. We've been trying to get it warm in here. We've been working other projects. And guess what? This little 10 by 12 cabin is holding its own. It withstood extremely high winds recently in a windstorm that we had. And that's awesome. Like, that wasn't part of the engineering, but it was built to be strong. But we didn't know that 2 days or 3 days after we got it done, it would be hit with probably a 60, 70 mile an hour crosswind. So anyway, we wanted to share this cabin with you because it really represents a lot of things. It proves that you can do things without huge amounts of money. You don't have to get on Pinterest and look for cute projects. You can build things with what you have, and they can be functional. And the idea here is to help us to transition to a beautiful home. But if we spend all of our money getting this little thing pretty, we'll have nothing left. We'll have nothing left to develop our true home. And so this transition is not going to be easy, and it's not going to be sexy, but it'll help us to move from where we were to where we want to be. So it's a very interim thing. It's not permanent. We've actually built the entire thing with screws, so we can actually reclaim all those screws, take it all back apart. Since we didn't make a lot of cuts, we can reclaim all the materials
and
again.
Any of the money that we did spend, it's an investment. If you look at this chimney, that was probably the most expensive part in addition to the window panels. I think that chimney cost us maybe a couple $100, but again, we can use it in our barn or even our home. So every single piece in here, whether or not we got it for free or spent money on it, we can use it again. So we're really not out anything.
Yeah, and so ultimately this building could even be sold at a profit if we so chose to do. So the point here is that it's easy to just run down, use money, solve problems. And when you don't have money, you really have to start thinking critically. We're not implying that everybody should run out and build a 10 by 12 reclaimed cabin, although it's kind of fun and they're kind of cute. But it's a place to start. Get started. Everybody wants to go from where they are to being perfect. They want to be fat, walk a mile, and be skinny. They want to eat one healthy meal, and boom, they want to be drop dead gorgeous. And guess what? No journey is that simple. There's a period of work and effort and labor and things. So right now our wood stove is doing a fantastic job. It's keeping all of our water thawed. It's keeping our trailer above freezing, which then helps to heat the trailer, which we can stay comfortable and dry. And the kitty cats love it in there because it's nice and warm. And it gives us a place to keep everything dry. We've had a torrential downpour that came with the wind, and everything that was inside, all of our valuable tools, our saws, everything's dry. So it's a very functional piece. With Alyssa's help and Anna's help, my sister, she was very helpful. We were able to put this thing together. It's keeping us winterized. And I think it really kind of just baby steps into this big mammoth project that we're hoping to do, which is a complete end-to-end homestead with living things, running things, growing things.
And it is kind of cute, from some angles and in some weather like the snow, not gonna lie.
It is actually really cute. It's kind of funny when we go up on the hillside, the whole thing's kind of adorable. But when you're inside, it's cozy, it's warm, it's protected, we feel safe, and that's exactly what we wanted it to do. So is it perfect? No, we've learned a lot from it. There's been a lot of kind of points of tension and times when we're kind of standing there looking at it, trying to figure things out, but we're learning a phenomenal amount, and you just can't get this education anywhere else.
Yeah, and some things are left kind of unfinished, which bothers us, but we're really trying to keep our eye on the big goal, which is getting our barn built hopefully next spring.
Yeah, and that's a really limiting belief system. It's hard because we're both from neat, tidy homes. We like to keep things nice and tidy, and I'll tell you what, this is very challenging, but you have to keep your focus on the goal. And the goal here isn't to try to be Pinterest worthy. The goal here isn't to flaunt our lifestyle, not at all. It's to communicate that it can be done, and you kind of have to step back in time. You have to give up a few luxuries, but that doesn't mean you're going to die. We're fine. You know, we're doing just fine. We eat, we sleep, we do all the normal activities everybody else does. So it can be done, but it's not going to be something that people are going to be jealous of. And you're going to post it to Facebook, and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I want to be you.
Except people that have been there, they know how meaningful that is, and how our little home like this means more to us than any home that we've ever been in, despite how nice they are, because we did it ourselves, and we fully understand the reason behind going down this path in the first place. So anytime we feel frustrated, all we do is remember all that stuff, and we actually feel really good about where we live and all of our accomplishments.
Yeah, and it's a little reassuring. We've actually had a few neighbors stop by and look at it and go, oh, I see what you did there. You got
like,
this
not
and
bad.
that. Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty good. And you know what? These people live in nice homes, and they're not judging us. They totally see that we're starting out. We're starting from nothing. They respect our effort. It's
and
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
work.
them started like this.
Yes, this is where they got their
And you can't
start.
compare yourself to 60 years old if you're our age.
Yeah, they've got beautiful homes now, but when one of them showed us pictures of the home when they first bought it 45 years ago, it was a shack. It was a full-on, like, leaning shack. And now it's a beautiful home. They've remodeled a few times. But it took them 40 years to do it. I'm not hoping it'll take us 40 years, but the point is, it's okay to start here. And it's very functional, so we hope that you've benefited from this video. Well, we ultimately just wanted to share the high points, and we'll kind of do some more footage. Alyssa, I know, has been working on some footage for you to kind of show you around the cabin a little bit, give you a little bit of a tour, and it'll change over time. We'll keep making it a little home sweet home. We already did some
We'll probably
stuff
do a
today.
winter video walking you through our whole winter routine and what the full winterization looks like, but we're trying to keep our videos to under half an hour.
Yeah.
So we'll save that for next time.
Yeah, very good. Well, thanks for joining us for this video. If you're enjoying this one, you want to learn more about our off-grid homestead project, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, please visit our blog. It's purelivingforlife.com. Subscribe over there. We send out periodic emails with our blog posts and other information. We're also doing giveaways from time to time. We also have a Facebook and an Instagram. We do tiny little posts over there, just kind of like stuff that's happening, but we don't write big long posts about it. So if you like either of those, please follow us over there, and we'll see you in the next video.